How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. How much is Bitcoin really worth? What's the value of it? People want to know that. Obviously, we know there's some value. People are willing to pay $36,000, $40,000, $50,000 for one Bitcoin. But first of all, where does that worth come from? And how do we kind of track how much Bitcoin's really worth? What's a fair value to pay for a Bitcoin? We're going to be talking about that here today. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on that bell notification so you can see future videos just like this one. Now, of course, right off the bat, I need to say that this is, depending on your viewpoint, you may have different ideas for what Bitcoin's worth. There'll be people that watch this video that think Bitcoin's worth zero. But if you know anything about technology, anything that has users is worth something. The hard part is trying to value really what is Bitcoin worth? What should I be paying for it? And it's going to be dependent on your situation. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you some things that I've learned that can be really helpful throughout time. Now, one of the things that's really helpful is having some place to put your Bitcoin. And right now, I'm going to try to publish this week when Treasure still has their Black Friday sale, up to 40% off on their devices. This is where you can actually keep your crypto safe off of exchanges. So I'll leave a link to this underneath the video. Also, I'm going to leave links to Margex underneath the video as well. There you can trade crypto on leverage. So in case you think the value of Bitcoin is going to go up, you can take a calculated bet to leverage your money and make more from it. For example, I got in on this trade at 36,200. Now the price is 36,460. So it's moved up less than 1%, and I made 22% on this because I am 30x leverage. I'm not saying it's right for everyone, but I'll leave a link to it underneath the video. There's no KYC and no VPN needed, and I'll leave a link to Blowfin as well. They're another exchange that you can use. I'm not saying to keep the majority of your crypto on these exchanges, but if you want to trade, this has over 220 trading pairs, so a great place to start trading crypto. And I'm running some different promotions with both of these, so you'll be able to get some stuff if you sign up with the links underneath the video. Now, Bitcoin's price has shot up a lot throughout the year. It's up from 15,500 up to 36,500. A lot of people want to know if it's too late to buy, when to buy, is the price going to go up next week? Why is the price going down 2% in the last 24 hours? All that kind of stuff. There's a lot to get into. When you start investing in cryptocurrency, you're going to wonder, why is Bitcoin down 2%? Why is it down 5%? Sometimes it's just normal price action. Sometimes it's because there's some big event. Now, a lot of people also want to know when to buy and sell. I'm going to publish this video sometime around when this video goes live, this Bitcoin spiral video, kind of telling you historically when's been a great time to buy, when's been a great time to sell. And there's a chart that shows everything. It's unbelievable how much great information there is on it, and I go through it in this video. If you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. But let's get back to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has value for a variety of reasons. We're not going to go into all of them here today, but it can send money across the world in a split second, and it can send large amounts of money, like $1 billion plus, for a very small cost. Also, it's the only asset that's truly set in the amount of supply that it has. For example, if you go and the city that you're in the property starts becoming more valuable, you might think, oh, land is scarce, but people will find ways of putting more housing in there. They will build up. So there's really no limit to how much housing can be in an area. If some stock becomes really valuable, they'll dilute shareholders, right? They'll sell more stock. So then, your worth of the company, how much you actually own, might go down. This happens in a lot of early stage companies. If the government wants to go print more money, they print more money. So there are very few things that are actually scarce. If gold becomes more valuable, then they go build more mines, and then the value of gold is kind of suppressed then because they're just mining a lot more. So there are a lot of different ways that you can look at it, but Bitcoin is the only thing that's truly scarce. There's a set amount. They're not going to change it. Also, it's the only thing that you actually have control over that no one can take from you. Like if you have your private keys, if you know what the code is to get into your Treasure cold storage wallet and someone tries to take it away from you, well, if they take away the hardware, you can always get back into it if you keep the seed phrase in your head. So it's the only thing that you can truly own that no one can take away from you as well. So those are just some of the reasons Bitcoin's valuable. Also, you can go into the security aspect of it, the millions of users, all that. No matter why it's valuable, you have to realize that to some people it is valuable because they're willing to pay a lot of money. This is the weekly chart for Bitcoin. A lot of people wonder, okay, why is Bitcoin worth 15,000 now it's worth 37? How do we look at Bitcoin? Is it actually becoming more valuable over time? And it is. The problem is there are so many different variables. There are so many different players that one person can decide to go sell 10,000 Bitcoin. So maybe someone that bought it 10 years ago, 12 years ago, they can go sell it, and that can cause the price to go down. So you have to kind of weed out maybe some of the day-to-day fluctuations, businesses failing, new coins popping up and causing there to be less liquidity, or people invest in that instead of Bitcoin. You have to take that out, and you have to look at it from a broader perspective. You have to look at a much larger view of Bitcoin because there's so many spikes and falls. It's hard to make sense of it. One thing, though, that some people have pointed to that can actually value Bitcoin and show the value growing over time is the 200-week moving average. It's this red line right here. Again, I've had a hard time with TradingView, the website that I'm using right now, because it flickers a lot. But this value over time consistently goes up. And the 200-week moving average, in case you want to know or you don't know, it basically just averages out the price of Bitcoin over the last 200 weeks. Now, it is an ever-increasing number because 4 years ago or 200 weeks ago, the price of Bitcoin was much lower than it is right now. I mean, we're talking about 2019. So we're looking at $3,000, $5,000 Bitcoin, $10,000 Bitcoin. Now we're at $37,000. So you lose a $10,000 every day or every week, and you gain a $37,000, which makes the value go up. Now, how much is the value of Bitcoin actually going up each week? It's actually maybe smaller, maybe more than you think. Right now, every week, it's going up about $200 on the weekly moving average. What's that mean to you? Well, if you had 5 Bitcoin, then the quote-unquote value of your Bitcoin goes up about $1,000 per week, like that underlying value. Now, sometimes we go below this number. We haven't really stayed below this 200-week moving average ever in history for any period of time more than a week or two before this bear market. Now, we did have a lot of time underneath it. I mean, we had months where we were underneath this value. Maybe we popped above it, got rejected, came back down. Now we're way above it. Like I'm talking, the 200-week moving average is around $28,000, $29,000 right now. Every single week it moves up, and depending on how much the price of Bitcoin goes up, it can move up faster. You can see it like kind of level off here for a while when Bitcoin's price fell down, and now it's starting to move back up in a more upward slope because, again, if Bitcoin's price is much higher than it is today, like if it was 70,000, 80,000, you're adding a lot more to the 200-week moving average. So it can change. It can go from maybe increasing $200 a week to $1,000. Who knows? Depending on how fast the price goes up and what it was 200 weeks ago. Now, just because we're above this number doesn't mean that this is a bad time necessarily to be buying Bitcoin. There are other charts that you have to look at, but this is just a general idea for what the value is. Maybe the fair value or the bottom value. This is what a lot of people think, like, okay, the value can go down below this, the value of Bitcoin, but generally it stays above this. We're coming out of a bear market as well, so the price right now, it might not ever get lower than it is today. Or, like, we may never fall back down under 30,000. We had been rejected around 31 to 32,000 a couple times, and then we fell way back below, like down to 25,000, and then we just exploded above it. So we may never reach $30,000 again. We may never reach $35,000 again. So Bitcoin's value really does go up every single week, every single day in a way. It goes up. So the best time to buy without knowing the future probably is today. It generally goes up over time. It's hard to know what's going to happen in the future, but this is one way of seeing that Bitcoin's value does go up nearly every single day, every single week, the underlying value. And part of that is just because we have stayed at a level much higher than where it was in 2019. We're not even close to that. I mean, If you're looking at Bitcoin back then, $3,000, $5,000. Now we're at $37,000. There are bigger players coming into the space all the time. Bitcoin's becoming more decentralized, there are more people buying it all the time that are accumulating. There's a stronger network. There's more security. More people are using it, more transaction volume. There's so many different reasons for why it becomes more valuable. And this is just one way to track how valuable it becomes. So I typically like to look at this. If the worst case were to happen and we fall below this, I know that we are undervalued. When we're above this, we can still be undervalued. Like right now, we could be undervalued. I think Bitcoin's price is going to move up. So it's not necessarily just a bad thing to buy whenever you're above it. But if you can buy below it, which I bought a lot down in here, it can be fantastic. It's like a buying opportunity of a lifetime. Now, that doesn't mean that you'll always time it correctly. Like you could have bought at 25,000, 20,000, and then it goes down to 15.5 and you still feel dumb. But if you're anywhere close to here, it's probably a decent buy long term. You might just have to wait a year or two. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Is this something that you look at a lot? Is it something you've ever looked at? I'm not saying that this tells you exactly what the perfect price to buy Bitcoin is, but it does show you that the value goes up week after week. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Check out that Bitcoin spiral video where I go through a really cool chart that gives you a ton of information that's really valuable. Check out the links to Blowfin and to Margex underneath the video, along with the link to get a huge discount off on Treasure. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.